That's a good question. And people, when I think about that, I think of a story that's at the end of, actually it's a scene from a story at the end of Lord of the Rings. And and actually it's a scene they cut from the movie, it wasn't in the movie. Frodo and Sam have been rescued by the giant eagles, brought back to the home of the elves and being taken care of. And Sam wakes up for the first time, and Gandalf is at the foot of his bed. And he looks at this Gandalf. He says, "I thought you were dead." Then he looks at himself. He says, "Well, I thought I was dead." And then he looks at him and asks him a very interesting question. He said, "Is everything bad going to come untrue? Is everything bad going to come untrue?" And Gandalf nods his head and says, "Yes." And that's at the very core of our Christian worldview, is that this idea of creation, fall, redemption, restoration, that God is putting everything back to the way it was supposed to be, that there's this process taking place, right? And that we're to be part and parcel of that process. One of the things that concerns me sometimes is that when we truncate that 4-chapter gospel, the 2-chapter, like we described there, we put the focus on man. And you hear people say, if you were the only person alive, God would, Jesus would have died for you. Well, yeah, maybe. But it's about more than that. Jesus didn't come just to die for you. He died to return the entire creation back the way it's supposed to be. You're an important part of that. Maybe the cornerstone or the cherry on top of creation, but the purpose is to put the whole creation back to rights. Right? This is why Paul talks about the whole creation groans in expectation of what God's going to do, because they were punished. The whole creation's been punished because of what Adam and because of their sin. Unjustly maybe, but they were punished nonetheless. And so there's this sense that everything's going to be that has to be at the very center of any understanding of worldview. That there's this process going through. This is where we're going. That as Sam says, all bad things are going to be turned untrue. Right? It's going to be reversed. And I think that's the piece I think we miss sometimes. We jump straight into our theology and we fight about these little pieces. Had an interesting conversation with someone the other day who called me and said, "I just want you to hear the story." He said, "I've been working through, we have a little book on the 4-chapter gospel called All Things New. And there's some questions in the back. A lot of people use it for Bible study. So this is at college. So he's got about 10, 15 kids that are going through this Bible study. And one of the girls was so excited about it. She said, I was so excited about the new heaven and new earth. That just never been explained to me this way. So she was going to a class, and she started talking to another friend about this. And this girl said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I've been in church all my life. I've never heard anything like this." And she started explaining it to her. And she said, "Well, this makes all the difference." And they went and spent about 2 hours together, and she gave her life to Christ because she could see where something's going on, where something's changing, where something's happening. And I think that's really a critical piece in any discussion you have. And I don't hear that piece being talked about very much.